Let's jump right into this explainer and completely demystify how to get your real ID in Michigan without all the typical headache. Listen, whether you're a frequent flyer hopping on planes every week or you just travel occasionally for family holidays, having secure, federally approved identification is absolutely critical right now. We've got to get your documents in perfect order.
Because, well, the federal May 2025 deadline? Yeah, that's already in the rearview mirror. The days of just breezing through airport security with a standard old-school driver's license are officially over. If you show up to the airport today with a non-compliant ID, you're looking at massive delays, expensive alternative verification fees, or even potentially being turned away from your flight altogether. Nobody wants that. So today, we're going to look at exactly what happens if you don't have one, and more importantly, how to fix it with a foolproof trip to the Michigan Secretary of State.
Here is our agenda for this explainer. 1. The Real ID Rule. 2. Eligibility and requirements. 3. The step-by-step process. 4. Timelines and costs. 5. Common pitfalls. And 6. FAQs and alternatives.
Let's kick things off with Section 1, the Real ID Rule, what it is and why you need it.
You know, this whole thing actually started way back after 9/11, based on the 9/11 Commission's recommendations. Congress passed the Real ID Act way back in 2005. It took 2 decades and quite a few delays, but full card-based enforcement is finally a reality. Basically, these federal minimum security standards ensure the secure production and issuance of IDs to stop fraud dead in its tracks. They protect your identity and they secure critical infrastructure. Long story short, without it, you can't board federally regulated domestic flights, enter nuclear power plants, or access certain federal facilities and military bases. It's a big deal.
But hey, good news. You might actually already be compliant without even realizing it. Seriously, take a second right now and look at your current driver's license or state ID. If your card has a star in a gold circle, or on the newer designs, a star inside a gold silhouette of Michigan, you are entirely Real ID compliant. Oh, and if you have a Michigan Enhanced license with a U.S. flag icon on the front, you're also good to go. If you see those symbols, you can breathe a huge sigh of relief. You're set.
Now moving to Section 2, Eligibility and Requirements, what you need to bring.
If you don't have that star, well, you can't just stroll into the office and smile for the camera, right? You've got to bring specific, approved documents that satisfy all 4 of these categories. You need 1 document for proof of identity and legal presence, like a valid, unexpired U.S. passport. You need 1 document for your Social Security number, like a W-2 form. And finally, 2 separate documents proving your Michigan residency, like a couple of recent utility bills.
Okay, pay close attention to this part because it is literally the strictest rule of the Secretary of State and it trips up the most people. For your identity, Social Security, and legal presence documents, you must bring the physical, original items. That means a photocopy of your birth certificate, instantly rejected. A fax of your W-2, turned away. The only exception here is for your 2 Michigan residency documents. For those, electronic copies on your phone, like pulling up your digital bank statement or gas bill, are perfectly acceptable. But for the others, originals only.
All right, Section 3, step-by-step process, navigating the Secretary of State. If you follow these 3 simple steps systematically, what used to be a frustrating hours-long bureaucratic chore literally turns into a super simple, highly efficient breeze. You've basically already done Step 1 by gathering those original documents. For Step 2, you must schedule an appointment, and Step 3 is just showing up, having the staff review your paperwork, snapping a new photo if you need one, and paying your fee. Honestly, thanks to some recent system overhauls, the SOS says customers with an appointment are typically in and out in 20 minutes or less. Now, we need to clear up a massive misconception about walk-up service in Michigan. Do not, and I mean do not, just walk into a branch expecting to take a number and sit in a chair until you're called. That's just not how it works anymore. Walk-up service simply means you'll be directed to an electronic station in the lobby to book a future appointment. Now, sure, if there's a cancellation, you might get seen that day, but you are not guaranteed immediate service. So do yourself a favor, respect your own time, and always book your guaranteed 10 to 20-minute transaction window online well in advance.
Let's talk about Section 4, Timelines and Costs, what to expect on your wallet and calendar.
So, what's this going to cost you? Well, the absolute best time to get your Real ID is during your normal renewal period because upgrading your standard card to a Real ID is completely free at that time. If you're doing it right in the middle of your cycle as a standalone correction, it's just a nominal fee, $9 for a driver's license or $10 for a state ID. If you want the enhanced ID, that generally runs about $30 at renewal.
And fantastic news for our seniors aged 65 and older, standard original and renewal state IDs, and that includes the Real ID upgrade, are completely free of charge.
90. That is the magic number. It represents the maximum age in days for your 2 Michigan residency documents. I really cannot stress this enough. Make sure those bank statements, utility bills, or pay stubs are fresh. If you show up with a water bill from 4 months ago, it's going to get rejected and you will have to book a whole new appointment. Keep it under 90 days.
Here's a really important heads up on timelines. If you are a lawfully present non-U.S. citizen applying for a Real ID, your immigration documents actually require verification through a federal database called the SAVE system. Because state and federal law mandates this digital handshake, your approval might not happen on the very same day. So please, plan accordingly and apply well in advance of any planned travel.
Moving on to Section 5, Common Pitfalls, Mistakes that Cause Instant Rejection.
All right, we've already talked about the photocopies and the expired bills, but let's talk about the dreaded P.O. Box rule. Remember, you have to prove your physical residence in Michigan. A P.O. Box absolutely cannot be used as a residential address. So if your bank statement only shows a P.O. Box, you've got to find a different document, like maybe a mortgage agreement or a life insurance policy that clearly displays your actual physical street address.
Oh, and this one catches so many people completely off guard. Your current legal name must trace perfectly back to your core identity document. So, for example, if your birth certificate says Jane Smith, but your current license says Jane Doe because you got married, you have to bring your certified original marriage license to bridge that gap. And listen, if you've been married multiple times or had a court-ordered name change, you must bring the official paper trail for every single change along the way. Without that unbroken chain of documentation, they simply cannot issue your Real ID.
Let's wrap up with Section 6, FAQs and alternatives. Options if you missed the deadline.
First up, a quick point of clarification we get asked all the time. What is the actual difference between a Real ID and an Enhanced ID? So while Michigan issues both, and both let you board a domestic flight, the Enhanced ID basically acts as a mini passport. That little U.S. flag icon means you can use it to cross the border by car or boat into Canada, Mexico, or the Caribbean. A standard Real ID with just the gold star cannot be used for those international border crossings.
So, picture this. What happens if you just show up to the airport security checkpoint tomorrow without a compliant ID? Well, starting back in February 2026, the TSA rolled out an alternative identity verification option called TSA Confirmify. It will get you on the plane, sure, but it is going to hit your wallet hard. It costs $45 per use. Per use! And if you're traveling for official military or government business, the Department of Defense has even noted this expense is not reimbursable. It's a hefty, frustrating penalty for just not updating your card.
But hold on, before you fork over that $45, check your bag. If you already have one of these items on you, you can completely bypass the Real ID driver's license requirement at the airport without paying a dime. A valid U.S. passport, a passport card, a trusted traveler card like Global Entry or Nexus, or a U.S. Military Common Access card, those are all federally approved alternatives. If you have one of these bad boys in your wallet, you can fly domestically with zero issues. Now, as we start to wrap things up, just a quick reminder. Government rules, fees, and procedures, yeah, they are always subject to shift over time. Treat this explainer as your comprehensive baseline, but it is absolutely best practice to double-check the official Michigan Secretary of State website at michigan.gov/SOS right before you gather your documents and book your appointment.
So, I'm going to leave you with this one final thought. I want you to pull out your wallet right now. Take a look at your ID. Are you completely Real ID ready? Or will your next trip through TSA cost you an unexpected $45 and a massive headache? If that gold star or U.S. flag is missing, you now have the exact blueprint to go fix it easily and efficiently. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and hey, safe travels out there.